Hi folks, Tom McManaman here from Stimulus Brand Communications. You know, as we begin to re-emerge from the pandemic and welcome customers back into a live interaction in our business, it's critically important to preserve the equity that you've earned, you've worked so hard for in winning customers and creating that loyalty. I want to give you 3 words to be thinking about and put into play starting right now. Those words are customer service matters. You know, there's a few stories I'd like to share with you real quickly. We had an experience recently where we went shopping, local business, unfortunately, and we walked in and looked around, studied, the products that we might purchase, and not a single person stepped up to say, "Can I help you?" Even when we looked around and found someone, they pointed us in the direction of someone else. Even at that point, there was a great, for whatever reason, reluctance to be helpful. We ultimately purchased what we needed and were told we'd have that in 2 weeks. And here it is, 5 weeks. We still don't have that. We've never received a telephone call. In fact, when I reached out, we were put on hold and never got connected again. What is that? It's complete disregard for the customer. It's a place that we would not likely be purchasing from again or recommend this to anyone else. On the flip side, there's a restaurant, a popular restaurant in West Trenton called Katani's. Fabulous food, and boy, do they have a following. We put in a reservation for some trays on New Year's Eve. We ordered ahead of time and were given a time to make pickup. As I stepped in, there was a line of 10 or 12 customers already waiting for theirs. Clearly, these folks were backed up. They had a couple of people call out sick, and they were feverishly trying to fulfill all of the orders. You might think in a scenario like that, there'd be 2, 3, or 4 people with attitude and chirping negativity. Instead, every one of us began to talk together to talk about New Year's. A few of us even knew each other. And the point is that the people in the restaurant were communicating with us, let us know where we stood, and not a single person had an attitude or a problem. We all waited patiently and received, our trays. Part of the reason for that is they were continually communicating with us what was their issue and where we stood in terms of where we were in line. Now, they won a lot of customers that night. Many of us were repeat customers, but they won a lot of customers that night, not to mention that the food is fabulous. A few other examples that maybe some of you can relate to. Years ago, my wife and I and family used to go skiing up in Vermont with a group of friends, and we got to a point where we were bringing along our babies. And we had a fantastic trip, and our second child was an infant who had a blanket, like all babies have a blanket, right? When the trip was over and we were coming home, we were all the way back in New Jersey, and we realized, oh my God, we lost the blankie. I didn't pack it. Did you pack it? We lost the blankie. And we thought, oh, well, maybe this is the period of time, that's that separation that maybe was meant to be. We called the resort just to let them know, not just in case maybe someone found it. Well, lo and behold, 2 weeks later, we received a package delivered to our home from the resort. In there was a freshly laundered blankie, which was my son's, and another one, a stadium blanket with an embroidered mark from the resort. Do you believe that? This is what happened, and do you think we ever went back to that resort? Of course we did. Do you think we told others about that resort? Of course we did. That was extraordinary attention to a customer. Another example was a passenger riding on Virgin Railways. This is a railway down in the Florida region. And he realized at a certain point, I have to go poo. So he runs down to the other end of the train cabin and goes into the bathroom, gets on the John, and does his thing, and then he realizes, oh my God, there's no more tissue. What am I going to do? There's no more tissue. For whatever it's worth, he tweeted the corporation, the railway line, not expecting any kind of reply or any kind of action. And he's contemplating now, what do I do? Well, there's a knock on the door, and I mean minutes later, folks, there's a knock on the door, and there's an attendant who received a relay from the tweet that he had sent. And she's knocking on the door, handing in rolls of toilet tissue. Honest to God, this is a true story. That is extraordinary customer service and technology at work. Another example, there's a young girl riding for her very, very first time on Southwest Air. Southwest Air is known for extraordinary, incredible attention to the customers. She got on the plane and she seemed extremely nervous. She sat down and she was afraid and she's kind of biting on her nails. And one of the attendants took notice. And that's the key, taking notice. She took notice and she opted to sit down next to her in the seat next to her for the entire flight. They occupied each other's attention. She learned about where she came from. They read a book, a number of things, and the flight is over, and the attendant stands up and gets on her speaker and tells everyone on the airplane, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the very first completed flight of so-and-so, the young girl's name. Let's give her an ovation, and the entire airline crew gave her a standing ovation. Do you think she was excited? Do you think she got an impression of what it means to travel and fly? This was yet another example of the many, many examples at Southwest where they demonstrate attention to the customer. As long as you communicate, as long as you connect with your customers and let them know if you're having a difficulty or what their expectations can be and should be, you are connecting to your customer. Remember that as you go forward, especially right now as we welcome customers into our businesses. And they're looking for attention. They're with you as long as you communicate with them. If you are employees short or if the product isn't fully there, let them know and they will ride with you. Remember, as you're going forward, customer service matters. Customer service wins the day. Good luck, everyone. Hope to see you all soon. Be well.